Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
To the 2024 Stanley Cup odds, the Hurricanes remain the favorite, followed by the Panthers and the Rangers. Interesting that they all are coming from the similar side of the bracket.
While the Oilers have the top-end talent, I still don't think they have enough depth, and Stuart Skinner does not scare me in net. So I will take a long series from the Oilers and the Kings, and ultimately I think the Stars are the ones coming out of the West for the Stanley Cup.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. That's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a posturepedic, whatever they call it, a Sealy's, whatever they do, those things. He ready to roll. Dominating tonight.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Level 3, let's roll. This is SportsRage. The Dallas Stars are running out of time right now. They're going to have to dial this thing up. There's 12 minutes left in the game. It's 2-1. Ottinger's made a couple of really big-time saves to keep this thing at 2-1 right now. And so there's 12 minutes left. The Dallas Stars are plus 320 on the money line. So that is a big, nice payback right there. Plus 1.5 is minus 180. Over under right now is 4.5, minus 180 to the over. We talked about this game going over to 5.5, Cam. I didn't put the play in. I'm going to go in at over 4.5 here because if Dallas tie the game, that's an automatic win. And if not, there could be more goals here, empty net goals. I'm going to go over 4.5, minus 180.
I think it's a great bet, Gabe. I'm going to tell you, I think the Dallas Stars are in this game, and if they go down 0-2 to Vegas and then they got to go on the road, they got big problems. How's my Stanley Cup final looking right now? I did too. Leafs Stars and Rangers Stars, like the Stars are in trouble, like big trouble if they lose this game.
It's 12 minutes left. They've got time to tie it, but the way things are going, I don't feel too good about this, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm in with you. I'm going in with you. I can't.
I don't mind a 4.5, but I'm not. Like I said, Dallas. I need Dallas. I've got Dallas. I've got that series bet, and I put $500 on it, and it pays back $1,500. So it's basically $1,000 like profit. And what it is the Carolina Hurricanes plus 1.5 games.
That's good.
The Leafs plus 2.5 games. The Jets plus 2.5 games. The Rangers plus 1.5 games. The Canucks plus 2.5 games. The Dallas Stars plus 2.5 games. And the Edmonton Oilers plus 1.5 games.
I like it.
So basically, I need the Maple Leafs to win at least 2 games in a series. I need one more game from the Leafs. I need one more game from the Jets, and I need one more game. I need games from the Stars. I'm starting to get worried about the Stars 2.5 here.
Me too.
If they're down 2-0, like they might lose this series 4 games to 1.
I'm with you. This is a real problem right now. This Vegas thing with Mark Stone and stuff, it's like, come on, man. Like, what the hell is going on here? But anyway, Dallas they got to man up and get things done. I'm taking them over 4.5 and I'm going to take them plus 320 and plus 1.5. I'm all in. All in.
Hoping for the best. The Dallas Stars can tie this game. We do like that over 4.5. I had to reset things here, and now it is reset. All right, let me get this in here. I might get a better price, actually, now. Over 4.5. Yeah, 160. Yeah, I'm going over the 4.5, minus 160. Let's get a couple of goals going here. Ian Cameron will step up and join us. I got a bunch of NFL bets to get to. But as far as the in-game action is concerned right now, the Edmonton Oilers and the LA Kings are tied at 3 after 2 periods of play. Not a bad number right now, Cam, actually, if you're looking for people looking for a late-night bailout. The Edmonton Oilers are minus 170 on the money line.
It's a good price. They've dominated the second half of this game big time.
They closed it at minus 205, so you're actually getting a little bit of, you're getting 70 cents to win the game only.
I like it. And we already hit the over, so I agree with you, Gabe. I'm all over it.
Let's roll. Level 3. This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency, the Pips and Players, the Hustlers, and people that bless them, and everybody else in between. Shout out to everybody joining us right now on our AM radio affiliates as the LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers have played 2 periods of hockey. The LA Kings look good early. They had a 2-0 lead. They had a 3-1 lead after 20 minutes of play, but the Oil have bounced back and have tied the hockey game. We're tied at 3. As I stated before the game tonight, I expected the LA Kings to play much better tonight than they did in Game 1. They have, but I also expected the Edmonton Oilers to find a way to win this hockey game. Currently minus 170 right now in game after 2 periods of play, and so are to all the King fans tuning in right now, but I think the Edmonton Oilers will win this hockey game. Meanwhile, the Vegas Golden Knights, a team that basically nobody likes outside of Vegas, are now winning. Like, for a team that hasn't been in the league for very long, they're actually a pretty disliked team in hockey markets because they're good, and you got to give them credit, right? They're good, and they've been winning these playoff series, and now they're beating the Dallas Stars. It's 2-1 with 10 minutes left in a hockey game, and they always say that a series hasn't started until the road team wins or a home team loses. Well, then this series has started because the Vegas Golden Knights are on the verge of going up 2-0 on the road. Right. Going back to Sin City, bad spot for the Dallas Stars to be in, but they still have 9.5 minutes to do something about it. NBA basketball this evening, the Miami Heat drilled 23 three-point shots tonight, and they beat the Boston Celtics. And the Celtics, every time people think the Celtics are just going to walk their way into the NBA Finals, they remind you that they're not invincible. And the Celtics are like big bad bullies in which when their three-point shots are falling and they're winning by 30, they're laughing it up. But if they're in a close basketball game, they choke. Like time and time and time and time. It's like they've never been in a situation before. And we see it over and over again all the time. Miami beats them 111-101, and Miami are getting 8 points now in Game 3, getting no respect, going back to South Beach. Meanwhile, the Oklahoma City Thunder absolutely throttled the Pelicans, and maybe it's time that myself, start taking the Thunder more seriously as these guys are rolling right now, hung 124 spot up on the board. So we're going to break it down. We're going to get to all of our NFL draft prop bets. I literally have 12 or 13 of them that I'm going to rattle off. We'll find out what's in Cam Stewart's bag for the Zurich Open, some team golf competition. Ian Cameron on the radar as well. We'll get into the NHL. We'll take a look at the overnight numbers for everything that's going on tomorrow, and including the NFL draft. Big story of the draft tonight is J.J. McCarthy did an interview a couple hours ago with Rich Eisen, in which Rich Eisen asked him which team he thinks that he could potentially end up with, and he didn't really hesitate at all in stating that he's hung around and met with the New York Giants much more than any other team. Yet we should note, you often hear after the fact in the NFL draft, players surprised that teams took them in saying that, you know what, I barely met them or I never met them. And in fact, I remember when Mitch Trubisky got taken by the Chicago Bears, he said he never even interviewed with them before. which goes to show what a big mistake that actually was in hindsight. I don't know, Cam. I'm just figuring, listen, I don't know what you're going to get from an interview, but if I'm trading up and I'm making a kid the face of my franchise, I'm meeting him. Like, there's no way I'm not meeting him. I'm meeting him. And we criticized Washington the other night about making the quarterbacks come together once for a meeting. It turned out, actually, that the media overplayed it like everything. They went to Topgolf, Cam.
Oh, okay. That's see.
They went to Topgolf, ate chicken wings, drank beer, and golf together. And in fact, they all said it was fun. They said it was fun. And Drake May even said, I've been buddies with J.J. McCarthy for years, and Jaden Daniels from the recruiting trail and all-star games. It was great to catch up with them. And he said, no, there was nothing negative about it. Like, he said, we all understood. It was just there. Like, so wasn't this thing, like, where everyone was uncomfortable. And Jaden Daniels, for the record, Camp threw it out there as well, that all media reports are wrong, that he doesn't want to play for the Commanders or that he was upset about any meetings with them.
Exactly.
People make things up, bro.
They do.
See, someone's calling Caleb Williams. They're like, he's the Prince. They said it's like if Prince the musician was a football player. I'd be concerned. What the hell does that mean? Like, why don't you put your name on that? Anonymous DM says that Caleb Williams is a concern. It's like, okay, put your name on it then.
Eric?
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
For the 2024 Stanley Cup odds, the Hurricanes remain the favorite, followed by the Panthers and the Rangers. Interesting that they all are coming from the similar side of the bracket.
While the Oilers have the top-end talent, I still don't think they have enough depth, and Stuart Skinner does not scare me in net. So I will take a long series from the Oilers and the Kings, and ultimately I think the Stars are the ones coming out of the West for the Stanley Cup.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. And that's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a posturepedic, what do they call it? A Sealy, whatever they do, those things. He's ready to roll. Dominating tonight.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. 2-1 right now, 6 minutes left. Time for Dallas to start pressing right now. We've seen pretty much in the playoffs, Patrick Waugh, and not a surprise actually, Patrick Waugh was the most aggressive. He pulled the goalie, or it was Carolina actually, my bad, against Patrick Waugh. And I've seen Patrick Waugh did actually pull the goalie in the first game with about 3 minutes left. The analytics, we'll bring Ian Cameron in. I'm old school. I remember in the old days, coaches wouldn't do it like until there was 45 seconds left. And then it was almost like, dude, it's kind of late, bro. Like, we probably should have done this a little earlier. And then the modern guy, the book says do it. Well, it's like 3.5, 4 minutes left, which is extreme. You'll see some coaches do it in the regular season once in a while and get aggressive analytic-wise. I've noticed, Cam, the playoffs, it's normally about 2 minutes that the coaches panic. 2:20 or so, they hit the panic button. If I'm Dallas, bro, I'm already down a game here, Cam and Ian.
Yeah.
I can't wait till 2 minutes, Cam, this time. That's where I'm going with this. This isn't a regular situation. We need a goal. I'm thinking 3 minutes. It's a 5-minute mark. I give them another 2 minutes, guys, and I'm pulling the goalie with 3 minutes left to go in the game.
Very bold, Gabe. Very bold. My line is I like $1.45. $1.30, $1.45. That's
not
my
enough
number,
time when you're down 1-0, though. Like, you need this goal badly.
Oh, you're right.
You're not pressing. You're not pressing without it. This is the problem. If you had all kinds of pressure without pulling the goalie, I'd be up for it. But I'm curious to see how aggressive Dallas gets. Babano, what do you think of this game right now? I'm on the Dallas Stars plus 2.5 games in the series, so I'm not happy about this, that they're about to be down 2-0. How you doing? What's your pick?
Yeah, exactly.
At
but
home.
They are a very good road team. I should point that out, Dallas. They're right there with Florida, one of the best road teams in the NHL. So there's nothing saying that they can't, win one, if not both games in Vegas, but you don't want to put yourself in that spot going back there down 2-0. I would pull the goalie 2.5 minutes left would be probably what I would do if I'm Peter DeBoer in this spot, especially once you get the puck possession in the offensive zone. You've got firm control of it. If there's 2.5 left at the time, take Ottinger out.
No, that makes sense for Babano. But
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I bet he does it earlier. I'm telling you, since they're down a game, I bet you the panic sets in a little earlier. I'm curious to see what it does, but I almost like to bet it. If I was a sports book, I'd have that up as a prop cap.
I have the draw.
When will they pull the goalie? Over under 2
DeBoer-
minutes and 30 seconds. Great idea.
DeBoer
Just gave him a
he
great
used to coach
idea.
Vegas too. He used to coach Vegas too. These guys, maybe they know his tendencies. I don't know. I'm very disappointed in Dallas. Like, they've been really sluggish in the first couple games of this series. It's unacceptable to me, to be honest with you, Gabe.
They've had a hard time, like a lot. Oh, they just missed a shot in the slot. They've had a hard time.
Coming close.
They've
Had a hard time, like a lot of these teams, getting shots through. And it's Vegas. Yeah. Vegas blocks shots, man. Like, they clog the lanes and block shots.
That's right.
Yeah, that's Vancouver's fault for telegraphing everything, though.
That's true.
Vancouver, like, they're passing these, like, they pass it like it's a regular season game on the power play all the time at Bano. Like, I have time to tee it up. They need to do one-timers, and they need to start faking the shots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like basketball. Like, you do the little fake three, and you get some space. Like Pedersen last night, like 8 times in a row, shot the puck into the defenseman's knee pads, shin pads.
He was brutal.
It's like, bro, it's like, dude, at some point, did you ever think, why don't I pretend I'm going to shoot and go around him? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Instead of just, or do a fake shot and then do it. Like, just a little Jimmy, like little hook, you know what I mean? But no, like, the Canucks think they have all day all the time, and it's really giving Nashville time to set up. They got to be more bang about it. Like, and it's a problem. You know what I mean? You see these teams. The Leafs do it as well. Teams that score easily in a regular season have a hard time scoring in the playoffs, guys, and we're seeing it right now.
Yeah, everything compresses, and it's right. You got to fake a shot, move the puck quickly. Players have to be moving around in the offensive zone. It's the only way you're going to open up shooting lanes, Gabe. It's the only way, because everyone's diving down to block shot and the goalie right now.
And or just freaking flick it. Just flick it along the ice. Like, you know what I mean? You do the pretend you're going to slap shot it and just go, dude, I'm not shooting it right at you. I'm just going to bounce it past you. Just bounce it. Bounce it towards the net.
These guys are so good. Everything has to be so methodical and pretty. They forget about, like, simple things. In the playoffs, just flick it. Hit a skate.
Most playoff goals are bang. They were not planned. Almost all of them. It's just chaos. It happened fast, and you know what I mean? It wasn't this perfect play.
Yep. Exactly.
Even on the power play, that's the problem. Teams tee it up, and they have tendencies, right? And it's sort of like football. Like, these other teams know, like the Canucks and the Leafs. It's like, guys, we know, Hughes, you set up here all the time. We know, like, Pedersen wouldn't move. Like, they were trying the same thing over and over. It's like running the same play in football. It's like, guys, they know our play here. Like, they know, like, oh, we're going to pass it here and we go here because we've been doing it all year. We got to shake it up. You'll notice, like, look at the tonight, Cam, the Leafs and the line that created the most was the Reeves line. They just crashed and banged and, like, caused chaos, and the puck nearly went in a bunch of times because it was like, oh, my God. They were just like a full-out onslaught, flicking the puck at the net, flick the puck at the net, flick the puck at the net, and it nearly went in.
Nyes has been the best Leaf in this whole series.
We're three Kings, by the way. LA's got the lead. Yep.
What?
Oh, did LA just score?
Yep.
Oh,
Early
I
in
got
the
to Dallas.
third.
Oh, 4-3. Whoa. God, it's just never at this team. Like,
oh, I can't take
this dude, like, we should have bet the over, too. These goals. I got
the over,
goals.
Oh, for God's sakes, help me. Okay.
I sound like an idiot. I just said, well, I think the Oilers are the play in the third period.
You don't sound like an idiot. They played good and Dallas scored. Like,
I still say they are. They're plus 195 right now on the money line.
I did. Oh, God.
It's pretty good,
You know
2-1.
You got a Doughty and a Kopitar, guys that have won championships. They're not going to roll over. They're just not.
These guys are 100 years old, man. Like,
yeah, well, they're good. Old guys.
They are good.
It's old bench strength. They just keep on
I don't know how they do it, these two. I got to give them credit. Like, they really.
I give them a lot of credit. Damn it.
They're like the Scorpions, like 70 years old playing at the Palm. They asked how. They said, oh, we eat well and we don't party anymore.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
To the 2024 Stanley Cup odds, the Hurricanes remain the favorite, followed by the Panthers and the Rangers. Interesting that they all are coming from the similar side of the bracket.
While the Oilers have the top-end talent, I still don't think they have enough depth, and Stuart Skinner does not scare me in that. So I will take a long series from the Oilers and the Kings, and ultimately I think the Stars are the ones coming out of the West for the Stanley Cup.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. That's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a Posturepedic, whatever they call it, a Sealy's, whatever they do, those things. He's ready to roll. Denominating tonight.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Well, the goals are coming fast and furious. It's funny. I said, wow, we told you Edmonton, and they got scored on. I said, no, it's still good. Plus 195. Good number. Boom. Edmonton tie the game 4-4. Good news. Bad news. Vegas Golden Knights have just scored an empty net goal. Game, set, match. 3-1.
I got to tell you, Gabe, how does this team do it? They've only been in the league a few years. They're like so successful. Like it's just it's almost like
they're clearly cheating.
I agree. What? Investigate. What's happening?
Well, the whole cap thing's another thing, but I don't know. They're using a lighter puck or something. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
They're so good. Damn it.
They have special sticks.
Put the LTIR up aside. Their roster is stacked. Defensemen, it's stacked. Forwards, it's stacked. It's
how they do it.
No, it's a great roster, and also I'll tell you how they do it too. It's one of the few markets too. Everybody wants to play there. It's a great life.
Yeah, it really is.
The fans love you, but there's not really pressure. There's like one beat writer. You play golf all day. You go and hang out. Celebrities come to town. You hang out with them. You go to concerts. You get backstage passes to everything. Like, seriously, you're like, I want to go to the show. Here's a backstage pass. Like, hey, the Super Bowl's here. Here's a free ticket. You know what I mean?
Hey, everybody.
You'll get that playing in Winnipeg. It's like, here's a ticket to the Bomber and the Banjo Bowl. So, yeah, thanks. You know what I mean?
Hey, everybody, it's Steve Karp. You guys are playing great tonight. It's like, hey, thanks, man. Like,
it's true, Cam. The guys on the team, like Vince Young, Vince Neal, a Motley Crue, lent like a bunch of his sport cars to the players like during the playoffs to look cool pulling in. Like, you guys can drive my Ferraris. Like, come over to my house. So you're hanging out with Motley Crue after your games and stuff at a pool party. Like, you know what I mean? You want to do that, or you want to play for the Leafs and get picked on by Noodle and Hayes? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or carjacked. If you're Mitch Marner at the movie.
Or carjacked in Scarborough. Welcome home, kid. Give us your money, Marner. Like,
who are you? We're carjacking you. Okay, thanks.
That actually happened like the day after they got eliminated in the playoffs last year. He went to a movie to take his mind off of things, and the kid Mitch Marner got robbed. So, see what happens this year. All right, so I say the Oilers win the game. They're minus 160 right now.
I'm on the Oilers. I'm all in. It's just the way it is.
Okay, what about tomorrow's game, Babano? Panthers Lightning. We got the last one to go to overtime, and this has been really competitive. We've had 2 one-goal games, both one-goal games here. One of them went to overtime, although Tampa scored an empty netter late. Not an empty netter. They pulled their goalie. They scored late in the game in game 1 to make it a one-goal game. But the Lightning are small home favorites, minus 115. And the New York Islanders are home underdogs at plus 135. What do you think about those two games?
Well, other than Dallas tonight, because they only scored 1 goal, and other than Tampa Bay in game 2 against Florida, where they were held to 2 goals and Bobrovsky was incredible, including one of the best saves you'll ever see. Other than those 2 games, the team off a loss in their next game in the series has scored at least 3 goals, and many of them have scored 4. So my first thought tomorrow with the teams that lost the previous game, Tampa Bay and the New York Islanders, is I'm looking at team totals for both of them. You can get first period team totals. It's an angle that worked well with the Kings tonight. I got it at minus 135 with them. The Islanders, you can get their first period team total minus 165 or minus 125 just for them to score a goal in the first period at home with their backs against the wall, which I think is a very good angle. Minus 165 for Tampa Bay to score a goal in the first period. I like that with both of those teams. As far as winning the actual game, I think I give Tampa Bay more of a chance than the New York Islanders. From a mental standpoint, got to be difficult considering just the way they lost in Carolina. And also, let's see how the roll of the dice goes for Patrick Waugh, changing goalies and going back to Ilya Sorokin here for Game 3. So I lean Tampa Bay. I like Tampa Bay. I like the over in the Florida Tampa game. And I do like that Islanders first period team total to score a goal, minus 125. But I just don't know after that if I trust them to win the game. Carolina is the better team, and they've kind of shown it so far.
The New York Islanders were up, man, the other game. But they
were.
That's why I like them early.
Can you believe this game?
I don't believe I've been on the Canes. I've been on the Canes, but I think this is an Islander spot. They had a complete collapse. I like the goaltending move. Varlamov fell apart late in that game. I can understand making the change here, going back home. I think the Islanders are the live dog tomorrow night at play. I think both teams are live, both home dogs tomorrow.
I agree.
Well, Tampa's not a dog, but pick them.
Yeah, whatever.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
For the 2024 Stanley Cup odds, the Hurricanes remain the favorite, followed by the Panthers and the Rangers. Interesting that they all are coming from the similar side of the bracket.
While the Oilers have the top end talent, I still don't think they have enough depth, and Stuart Skinner does not scare me in net. So I will take a long series from the Oilers and the Kings, and ultimately I think the Stars are the ones coming out of the West for the Stanley Cup.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. And that's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a posturepedic, what do they call it? A Sealy's, whatever they do, those things. He ready to roll. Denominating tonight.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. Countdown to the NFL Draft is on, and we're not going to be on tomorrow night for the NFL Draft. There's an NFL Draft special, but we got a bunch of picks for you before we're done here tonight. We've only had one overtime playoff game in the Stanley Cup playoffs so far, which is kind of rare, right? There was the Tampa game, the Tampa, Florida. It was the only one. How many games have there been now? What are we up to? 16?
Yeah.
About?
Yep.
How many
in that range?
Is that 16? 4,
I don't know, like 13, 15, whatever. We're in the game threes in some of these series.
Yeah.
It's like there's been about 15, 17, 18 games or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah, we're in that range, yep.
Yeah, only one. You'd be getting killed if you bet every game to go to overtime.
Thank God I didn't play that game, Gabe. I thought about it.
Yeah, but it's due. It's due. Yeah. There's got to be a bunch of overtimes. I'm saying, is this one going to go to overtime? There's 8 minutes left. It's 4-4.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. What's the line?
It's 8 minutes to go.
What's the line to go to overtime? Draw. Give me a three-way draw here.
Oh, it's minus 135 to go to overtime. That's not a good bet.
Perfect. I think it's a fine bet, Gabe. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
All right.
There's 8 minutes left.
I couldn't care less about 8 minutes left.
You don't have the over. You don't have to worry about an extra 5 minute period at least. So that's a little bit different, right? But
yeah.
I'm just stating. We'll see if there's a goal in the next 8 minutes here. So, but we are kind of due for an overtime. All right. So, but let's keep it rolling. We'll get some overnight. We'll take a look at the overnight games. We'll get Babano's picks. I'll get to my NFL draft picks, Cam's golf picks. So NHL hockey, I think the home teams tomorrow. I think Tampa and Florida are both live. This has been a fun series, but Tampa's played with them. I think at home they can steal a game, and I think the Islanders deserve. The hockey gods owe the Islanders. The Islanders are going to win one of these games at home, and they're going to be underdogs in both of them. So I'll start off by taking the Islanders here. NBA basketball tomorrow night. Interesting, fun slate of games, Babano. We'll rattle through them. I'm taking the Orlando Magic in a bounce-back spot here. I like the Magic to win Game 3. I'm not in love with laying 4.5 with the Sixers, but they are going to get every call from the league now, right? And the league doesn't want a fast series here. The ratings have been great. It's New York and Philadelphia. They'd like to stretch this out for a couple of weekends if they could. So I think that Philadelphia is going to get all the help that they can here in this game. And then you get the Nuggets and the Lakers, man, which at some point can the Lakers break through and beat them, right? They've lost, 10 straight to them, 6 straight in the playoffs now. Got swept last year. Let's just count the playoff games. But what do you like tomorrow? What do you think of the card tomorrow night in the NBA?
Yeah, I'm with you on Orlando. They've disappointed me because I thought they'd be more competitive in this series. At least in Cleveland, I thought they'd be more competitive than they were. It's just a tough matchup for them because a lot of their production is inside. That's their strength, is the front court, and it's negated by Cleveland because Mobley and Allen are so good in around the paint area. So tough matchup, especially when their perimeter game has been so hit or miss this year. But back home, keep in mind, too, this is the first home playoff game for the Orlando Magic in many years now. So there is going to be that extra vibe, I think, in the place. Playoff basketball back in Orlando again. So I think the Magic, it sets up to be a good spot for them to at least get a win in this series, get it to 2-1. So I'm with you there on that one. I actually think the Knicks are the way I would go in game 3, plus the 4.5. I mean, to me, Philadelphia losing that game the way they did, I don't want to lay 4.5 with them. Maybe they do win the game. I think if you like the Sixers, you take them early. But as the game goes on,
both games have been super close.
Exactly.
So that's the whole thing, right? Like, you know what I mean? Philly could win the game, but they might. I wouldn't shock me if they won by 2 at all.
Exactly. One possession game again. In that case, the Knicks plus 4.5 looks live. To me, they just look like the better basketball team right now as well, the way they've been playing. And with Embiid still trying to work his way back. So, yeah, I like plus 4.5 with New York. Denver Lakers, look, the thing that has done me well in this series, you guys, is taking the Lakers early and not trusting them for the full game. And it's worked out well. They had a good start to game 1. They had a good start to game 2. You would think down 2-0 back home, they're going to have a good start to game 3, even after blowing that 20-point lead in game 2. So I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to stick with what works. Lakers early, first quarter, first half. I wouldn't dare touch them full game.
Yeah, I can't. Listen, I'm gonna go the full game this time with them. I've been zigzagging around in this series, but a good point that you raise, and we've seen this, Kev. Denver are not a good first half team. They're almost cocky about it. They're like, whatever. We could be down by 20. We could be down by 10. We'll come back in the second half. And they always do. Yeah, and I get it. There's no point spread in this game. It's a 1-point point spread, so it's basically just a win the game, win the bet deal. But the Lakers are going to be freaking lit in the first quarter tomorrow. The building's going to be rocking. The crypt's going to be banging. And not to mention, LeBron and AD were crying about the refs. And not to mention, too, we talked about earlier with Paul Bovey. The league doesn't want sweeps, man. Like we need some games. They need games on TV. Sweeps don't help anybody.
Kind of like the Lakers, but I agree with you definitely early in that game. I'm with you, Gabe. I think Orlando wins outright. I have no faith in Philly covering that number. Probably maybe money line and Knicks, maybe middle of that game. And I'm on this tie, and now the Kings are on a power play. I got 148, and now I'm in big trouble.
What do you think, Babano, of the Jets and the Avs going back to Denver on Friday?
I'm gonna go back to the well with the Jets. The Jets have played well in Denver. I know Denver's a tough place, and it is the playoffs, and the Avs have some momentum after the big game 2 win. But Winnipeg's played well in Denver this year, including the 7-0 beatdown they laid on Colorado the last time they were there. I think it's a good bounce back situation. Get them on the road now. We'll see what they're made of. I need to see another good game, too, from the Avs defense, which did play better, and so did Georgiev. I need to see that combination play well again, because it's really the good defensive performances and the good goaltending for Colorado. It's been few and far between the last 10 games or so dating back to the regular season. So I'm gonna grab the Jets on the road. I think they've got what it takes to go in there and win.
The Vancouver Canucks are plus 100 dogs. The Preds, like the odds makers, are giving the Canucks a lot of respect here. Preds are only minus 120 home favorites with Casey DeSmith back between the pipes. The total is 6. Vancouver have been very good road team this year, and Vancouver have been pretty good at bouncing back off of losses this year as well. And they did play well in game 2. Like we said, they played better in game 2 than they did game 1, ironically enough. Right? That's the way hockey works. I mean, you had 84 shot attempts in a game. You got to give credit to Nashville for all the block shots, but I think Vancouver can win the game, Babano and Cam, on Friday. They'll probably split in Nashville.
I love Vancouver on the road. If they don't win the first game, I'll take them in the second. There's
there's
way
less
they're
pressure
losing
on
two
them on the
games
road,
there.
too.
Yeah,
That building was
exactly.
rocking. They won the first game. There was a lot of pressure.
Exactly.
They went to their heads a little bit. You know what I mean? They'll be better on the road
Yep.
now.
I think Vancouver's a very good road team, and I think they'll play well for DeSmith. Give me Vancouver. I like Vancouver.
For people tuning in, hockey's a little bit different. Yeah, these buildings are rocking and stuff, but there's something about hockey teams that they play better on the road in the playoffs. They're less cute. There's more attention to detail. There's like, let's not make a mistake. And oftentimes, the home team will get caught up in it. They'll get caught up in a national anthem. They'll get caught up with their family and friends there. Like I saw Pedersen talking about. He had 18 people coming in from Sweden and stuff.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that's not a distraction. You got 18 people hanging around your hotel and dinners and like, it's just, you know what I mean? It's playoff time now, right? Some teams are better at sort of like shutting out the outside world than others. Babano, I've got a bunch of NFL draft picks I got to get to. Great stuff. Catch Babano on the Ice Guys with the crew, including Alex Smith. They're breaking it down on a daily basis. What time are you on tomorrow, Babano?
Yeah, weekdays 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern, 7 days a week. Ice Guys NHL betting show, all playoff long.
Ice in the drink. Thanks, Babano.
See you guys.
Very good.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR listed zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The 2024 Stanley Cup odds, the Hurricanes remain the favorite, followed by the Panthers and the Rangers. Interesting that they all are coming from the similar side of the bracket.
While the Oilers have the top-end talent, I still don't think they have enough depth, and Stuart Skinner does not scare me in net. So I will take a long series from the Oilers and the Kings, and ultimately I think the Stars are the ones coming out of the West for the Stanley Cup.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. That's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a posturepedic, what do they call it? A Sealy's, whatever they do, those things. He ready to roll. Denominating tonight.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
All right, countdown to the National Football League draft is on for real right now. We probably said that about 3,000 times over the last 4 months. But we break it down. Rick Saratel is a regular guest of mine throughout the entire year all the time. Same with Brent Beard. A lot of shows, like we still talk football in the so-called off season because there really is no real off season when it comes to the National Football League. But I've got a full slate of NFL draft props here, and I have bet every one of these. And I'm no doubt going to have more before it's said and done, as far as our NFL best bets are concerned here. But Let's get rolling, and let's start off, actually. I see you guys have a Joe Alt page here ready to go. You could put that up if you want. So, yeah, Joe Alt to be the 5th pick. And not to be the Chargers pick, to be the 5th pick. It was actually better odds worded-wise. You got to double-check that stuff. So, to be the 5th pick specifically, Joe Alt out of Notre Dame to be the 5th pick with the Chargers. Listen, the Chargers need skill positions. No doubt about it. No one's disputing that. They lost Keenan Allen, they lost Mike Williams, but Harbaugh comes in, right? Harbaugh comes in here, and he's got a 5-year deal. He's rebuilding this football team. All of Harbaugh's football teams have always been the same way, at Stanford, at Michigan, San Francisco 49ers. Big-time offensive line, right? Get the offensive line going, get the ground game going, and I think he wants to retool the Chargers a little bit, and Joe Alt's a good way to do that. And it doesn't mean they can't get skill positions later in the draft either. So I got Joe Alt as the 5th pick at plus 250. That's assuming that there's not going to be a deal there. The all-time record for offensive players taken in the NFL draft is 19. That's happened 3 times before. We've got an over 20.5 at minus 220. There's other 21.5s at minus 110, depending how you want to approach it. I decided to play it a little bit safer at minus 220, over 20.5 offensive players to be taken in the first round. I want to be contrarian and go, that's crazy talk. There's not going to be that many, but there actually is. If you add up the offensive linemen, the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, there's a ton of them. And the defensive quality on the defensive side of the football, there's some good defensive tackles, but teams don't want to pay them big money in the first round anyways. There's like a structure behind the scenes that goes into their method to their madness and the positions that they're going to take. So I do like the over 20.5 offensive players to be taken in the first round. Under 9.5 offensive linemen taken in the first round is a bet I've been talking a lot about. And this one really hasn't moved. You can still get in on it at a good price. Plus 160. I don't think there's going to be 10. It could get up to like 8. It might get up to even 9. But I don't think it's going to get to 10 offensive linemen taken. And we like the plus 160 factor there. Marvin Harrison. Listen, Brock Bowers is a freaking stud. But Marvin Harrison is also a generational wide receiver. He's the son of the legend Hall of Famer, Marvin Harrison Sr. He's more decorated coming out of college than his father was. He's also bigger than his father was. This guy is he's a dynamic football player that could be a superstar in the National Football League. And the Arizona Cardinals need like some star power here. And they also need to help Kyler Murray. They need somebody to throw the football to. So, and Marvin Harrison wants to be. Another thing is, too, his father could be difficult, and his father started sort of running things behind the scenes. But his father likes the Arizona situation. They like the fact that he would be the star there and he would be the man. DeAndre Hopkins spoke positively about playing with Kyler Murray and playing for the Arizona Cardinals to the family as well. And they actually want to be Arizona Cardinals. So I think the Cardinals love it. They need him. He wants to be a Cardinal. It's a perfect fit. Marvin Harrison, minus 180. To be selected by the Cardinals. Brock Bowers to be a top 10 pick. Brock Bowers is a stud who's as good as Marvin Harrison is, but he's a tight end, so it scares some people. But he's too good for teams not to take. He could go 7th to the Tennessee Titans. He could go 9th to the Bears. Maybe the Chargers surprise us with the 5th pick, right? Like, he's just that good. And, oh, yeah, by the way, word is Aaron Rodgers loves him, and the Jets would take him at 10 if he's still there. So we're going to go Brock Bowers top 10 at plus 120. Now we're just going to get into some player over-unders here for you. Jared Verse. Jared Verse is a defensive edge lineman out of Florida State. Kid from Albany. He wasn't a big-time recruit out of high school or anything like that, but he played himself into one. And this kid's a stud. He's really a freak. Like, I watched him closely, and he stands, when you watch like the workouts and the Senior Bowls, like you watch all the workout stuffs, like all the film, and you're like, wow, this is the guy. And with all that being stated, though, I don't think he's going to go in the top 16. I've got him going to the Rams with the 19th pick. They get their new Aaron Donald. So I got him going to the Rams at 19. Let's go over 16.5 for Jared Verse. The guy with probably the coolest name in the draft, Kool-Aid McKinstry. Kool-Aid, defensive DB, cornerback out of Alabama. His prop right now, guys, is over under 28.5. He's kind of not being talked about as much as some of these other ones, like his teammate Arnold, and you got the kid from Toledo, and Cooper DeJean from Iowa. All Kool-Aid McKinstry's done has been one of the best DBs in college football for the last 2 years. And for whatever reason, like, it's just he's been good for so long, people are just looking for reasons, like, to think that he's not good anymore or something. But he's too good for me that he won't get taken before the 28th pick in the draft. With all these offensive players taken, somebody's got to stop them. So, I think DBs will be taken. Let's go McKinstry under 28.5. Here's the wide receiver here with Ricky Pearsall. He's kind of a trendy player here right now out of Florida. Tough-ass kid. Like, the Florida Gators weren't really good. I've seen this kid get lit up, like get smoked, hang on to the football. One of those grit type of wide receivers. Doesn't stand off the page like the other speed burner guys do. But with all that being stated, it's such a deep wide receiver class at the top of the board with all those fast dudes from Texas and everywhere. I don't think he goes in the top 44.5. I think he's going to be good in the NFL, but I don't think he goes in the top 44.5. I got Spencer Rattler, guys, under 79.5 at plus 120. Great price.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
To the 2024 Stanley Cup odds, the Hurricanes remain the favorite, followed by the Panthers and the Rangers. Interesting that they all are coming from the similar side of the bracket.
While the Oilers have the top-end talent, I still don't think they have enough depth, and Stuart Skinner does not scare me in net. So I will take a long series from the Oilers and the Kings, and ultimately I think the Stars are the ones coming out of the West for the Stanley Cup.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. That's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a Posturepedic, what do they call it? A Sealy's, whatever they do, those things. He ready to roll. Denominating tonight.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
The Kings and Oilers are going to overtime, tied at 4. Game 2 tied at 4. Critical, next goal, massive for the tide of this series. What a big difference it would be going back to Los Angeles, tied at 1. Suddenly all this, like, all the Oilers are unstoppable stuff, man. That's the thing with the playoffs, man. There's no momentum from game to game. It doesn't exist. It's not true. There's momentum in the games. There's not a momentum from game to game. You can get killed one night, win the next night, play better one night, lose the next night, lose, win. Like, it's really kind of random. You just sort of grind away and hope that the numbers add up for you over 7 games. All right, so quickly on the way out here, we're going over our NFL draft best bets. I'll repost them on Twitter. I'll do a video, but I'll repost them in Word too because there's so many of them. But I could read them quickly here to catch up. We'll get Cam's picks. Over 20.5 offensive players taken in the first round, yes. Under 9.5 offensive linemen taken in the first round. Marvin Harrison to be drafted by the Arizona Cardinals. Joe Alt to be the 5th pick at plus 250. Brock Bowers, top 10, plus 120. Jared Verse, over 16.5. Kool-Aid McKinstry, under 28.5. Ricky Pearsall, over 44.5. Spencer Rattler. I think coaches like Spencer Rattler better than losers online do. And I think Spencer Rattler is going to go under 79.5 at plus money, plus 120. My boy Blake Corum out of Michigan, 82.5. I was thinking about it, and I'm realizing, you know what? He's not going to last that long. The Chargers are probably going to take him. And if it's not the Chargers, like Harbaugh's brother will beat him to the punch, Cam, and take him at Baltimore or something. Corum's just a winning guy that a winning team's going to want. So I think Blake Corum under 82.5 at plus 100. And the last one on the way out for people on the coast. Listen, it's really sad that the Pac-12 was as good as it was and has been imploded because the over-under is 7.5 players taken in the first round for Pac-12 players this year. I don't think they're going to get there. We're going to go under. It's minus 225. So I got to lay a little bit of a price here, but there's like 5 locks, all right? We know Caleb Williams. We know Roman Dunze. We know Fuyuga. We know Fatanu. And we know that Leatu out of UCLA, the edge rusher, obviously. Then you got Michael Penix, all right? Gets us to 6. Bo Nix. I don't even think Bo Nix is going in the first round. That would get us to 7. I don't know where 8's coming from. So I think it's a great bet. It's minus 225. But if you can get that out there, guys, Pac-12 players taken under 7.5 at minus 225. Cam, what do you have for the Zurich Open?
Well, Gabe, it's a team competition. We're going to go with Højgaard and Højgaard. That's what we're going to do. These guys have been on fire since they came to America, 20-1. Brady liked the Canadian team with Hadwin. I like Connors and Pendrith at 32-1. I think Connors hits it straight, Pendrith hits it long. Billy Horschel won last week. Does anybody know this? This guy actually won last week, and Alexander hits it a mile, 40-1. And Bo Hostler and Sam Ryder at 55-1. Gabe, you're going to like this. Top 5. I'm not dicking around here. Cantlay and Schauffele plus 120 for a top 5. All they do is show up in this tournament, but their odds are like plus 300 to win. So I'm going to do the top 5. And top 10, I love this team. Tagala and Zalatoris plus 110 for a top 10. I think these guys could win, but I'll take them at plus 110 for a top 10. I'll also take them for a top 5, buddy. Enjoy the Zurich.
I wish I could be cute and I wanted to pick some big long shot, but the biggest long shot I like actually is the Connors Pendrith or Nick Taylor Hadwin. The Team Canada is at 28 and 25 to 1s. Your Højgaard picks are interesting. And you know what? It's 12-1. It's not bad, and I think they have a legitimate chance of winning. Morikawa and Kitayama seems to be a trendy pick. 12-1. At least you're getting double digits.
I'm going to take them top 10. Morikawa's hot, Gabe, and Kitayama, he's playing great golf. Great top 10 pick with those two guys.
Remember, this is team golf this week. So the NFL draft, we also got to bet in on J.J. McCarthy. I got a couple of J.J. McCarthy plays. I hope that it works out. If it works out 1-2, I don't want to be on the Patriots, but I already bet it. I bet the 1-2-3 combo that Williams is 1, Daniels is 2, and J.J. McCarthy is 3 at plus 600. But J.J. McCarthy himself, he told Rich Eisen he thinks that the New York Giants, he said he met with the Giants the most, and he thinks, that's the one team that he felt that he would end up with was the Giants. It's like plus 500. I mean, I think everyone will feel pretty stupid if he gets taken by the Giants tomorrow, and he freaking told us, and you didn't take it at plus 500, so I took it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Other than that, you're on your own. May the winners be yours.